Jacob Rees-mogg asked Brexit Minister Steve Baker whether he had been told Treasury officials are using specific economic modelling to try influence Brexit policy. The allegations are that officials within Philip Hammond's Treasury Department are deliberately seeking to promote staying in the customs union above other options. Speaking in the Commons on Thursday, Mr. Rees-mogg said, My honourable friend, the Minister and member for Wycombe, confirmed that he heard from Charles Grant from the Centre of European Research that officials in the Treasury had deliberately developed a model to show that all options other than staying in the customs union were bad and that officials intended to use those to influence policy. He asked whether Brexit Minister Steve Baker shared the view that the revelation goes against the spirit of the Northcote Trevelyan reforms that underpin our independent civil service. In response, Mr. Baker revealed he had heard the claims and ministers must now proceed with great caution. However, he denied having evidence the claims were true. Parliament TV Brexit News. Jacob Rees-mogg said MPs must not proceed with "I am sorry to say that my honourable friend's account is essentially correct." Steve Baker. Mr. Baker said, Mr. Speaker, I am sorry to say that my honourable friend's account is essentially correct. At the time I considered it implausible because my direct experience is that civil servants are extraordinarily careful to uphold the impartiality of the civil service, he said. MPs must now proceed with great caution in the matter, as he recognised the issue had been raised with Mr. Rees-mogg. He said, I think that we need to be very careful not to take this forward in an inappropriate way, but he has reminded me of what I heard. The Brexit minister said he does not know whether the comments are correct, but he confirmed the account was correct. He said, it was put to me. I considered it an extraordinary allegation. I still consider it an extraordinary comment. Mr. Baker faced Labour claims he had said the allegation was correct, which he denied. Mr. Rees-mogg's account has provoked a huge backlash, with MP Antoinette Sandbach taking to Twitter to say she had not heard Mr. Grant make the claims at the lunch event. I was at the Prospect lunch at which @Sia_Grant is alleged to have made these comments as was a member of my staff. At no point did I hear any suggestion of civil servants deliberately manipulating data modeling. Antoinette Sandbach at Sandbach. February 1, 2018. The FDA, the union representing civil servants, however, hit back at Mr. Baker, saying he had shown signs of irresponsibility with his equivocal acceptance of Mr. Rees-mogg's half-baked conspiracy theory. General Secretary Dave Penman said to stand at the dispatch box and refused to challenge a half-baked conspiracy theory about the civil service, one that even now is being disowned by its supposed sources. The height of irresponsibility from a serving minister. It's not good enough for Mr. Baker to simply shrug his shoulders and allow unfounded accusations about officials to go unchallenged. Every day, civil servants put their personal views to one side and work tirelessly to implement the decision of ministers. And they do so with a professionalism that puts the likes of Mr. Baker to shame. Friday, December 8, 2017. Here is the 15-page Brexit deal in full. These cowardly actions are beneath the office he holds, and Mr. Baker risks seriously undermining the government he is part of. Mr. Grant later released a statement in which he said he had neither said or implied the Treasury had deliberately developed a model to show that all non-customs union options were bad, with the intention to influence policy. He added, I recall saying to Steve Baker at a Prospect lunch at the Conservative Party conference that I was aware of research that the Treasury had done. This apparently showed that the economic benefits of the UK forging FTAs with third countries outside the EU were significantly less than the economic costs of leaving the customs union. Brexit Secretary David Davis was challenged by Labour to explain when he first knew about the economic modelling on Brexit scenarios being undertaken in Whitehall following the leak of analysis to BuzzFeed News. Mr. Davis said he told the Exiting the European Union Select Committee last December, also noting every forecast about the post-Brexit period has been wrong on the economic analysis work. Mr. Davis earlier said he first told the Exiting the European Union Select Committee on December 6 in terms that the government will, with some already initiated to the best it can to quantify the effect of different negotiating outcomes as we come up to them. He said, "Actually, I told the Select Committee that this work was underway last December." Shadow Brexit Secretary Sir Keir Starmer then asked Mr Davis to confirm when he was first talked through the economic modelling of the scenarios by his department. Mr Davis, in his reply, said one of the things Sir Keir has been trying to pretend over the course of the last few days is that somehow my colleagues have been critical of the civil servants doing its job because the outcome is as yet a work in progress. That is what it is, a work in progress. I say that because we are trying to do something which is incredibly difficult. He continued, every forecast that has been made about the period post-referendum has been wrong. What has been going on has been an attempt to find a way of getting a better outcome. In those terms, I talked to my own department and indeed the cross-departmental group in early January on this matter. The Treasury has been contacted for comment.